Let me show you how to increase your organic reach on Instagram so you can reach millions of people per week like I do just here. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name's Josh. I built Millionaire Dream to nearly 800,000 followers, made a lot of money for a lot of big clients, and now I help experts, coaches, consultants, agencies, etc. build profitable audiences on Instagram. Feel free to DM me at Josh Ryan on Instagram if you need help. Now, let's get right into the video of how you can explode your reach. So I want to start off this video by just clarifying that organic reach will naturally go up and down over time. Ideally, it goes up 2 times and then drops a little bit, and then up and then drops a little bit, and then up and then drops a little bit. It's not always going to be that perfect, but just know that every week is not going to be an increase on the previous week. Sometimes you will simply have bad weeks, whether that's your fault, whether that is just something completely random by Instagram, whether your audience may have just not been on Instagram that much that week because it was Christmas, for example. And then recently, in early 2022, Instagram's, I think, made a lot of changes with their algorithm, and whilst they were making those changes, reach dropped off a lot, which is why a lot of people have been complaining about bad reach, sometimes through no fault of their own. So please know that reach will go up and down, but there definitely are things that you can do to make those ups bigger and those downs smaller. So even if your reach is down, it's up 5 or 10 times on what it used to be because you're using the right strategies. Now, the first thing that you can do to massively increase your reach on Instagram is make sure that you're using the features correctly together. Now, this is a big one. There are a lot of subtleties to this which can massively increase or decrease your reach depending on how you do it. Now, I often go over this on a case by case with my students, as it sometimes can be a little bit more personal, but there are a few general rules of thumb that you want to follow. One great trick is when posting content, you want to maximize the amount of early engagement that you get so that the Instagram algorithm pushes it out to more people. This is something that a lot of you know, but how exactly you go about getting that is something that less people know. Now, one thing that a lot of people do to increase this reach is they will share their content to their story as soon as they post it. The issue with this is often it's pretty boring. By simply sharing an image or a reel to your story, it doesn't really build any excitement. Most times people just skip through unless it's like a carousel that's got a really interesting thumbnail that makes people want to click on it and then find out what it's all about. Otherwise, they can just get everything from the story, move on, they don't engage with it, and it actually doesn't help you. And because people don't react to it too strong, Instagram limit the reach of that story. For example, recently I tested this out by sharing one of my reels to my story and didn't follow any other strategies, and it literally got about 25% of the normal amount of views I would get in 24 hours, like the story itself, not the reel. It got about, a quarter of what my stories would usually get because it's boring to do it that way. Instead, what you want to do is build up a little bit of suspense for this piece of content. What you can do to achieve this is share a story asking people a question that somewhat relates to the piece of content. So if you're a fitness trainer and you're going to post a reel about a recipe that is really tasty, has lots of protein, and is low in calories, you could post a story with the question, who wants to know my favorite tasting low calorie, high protein breakfast or lunch or dinner, whatever it is. Then people are going to interact with that. They're going to vote yes or no on it. And this interaction is going to push your story out to more and more people. Then after posting that poll, you simply share your reel, the solution to this question, to your story straight after it. So those who are interested will go and watch it. And because people are voting on it, Instagram will push the story out to more and more people, which means your reel will get seen by more people. As well as this, people are making a small commitment to the piece of content ahead of time, so I'm more likely to actually watch the reel, go and interact with it, leave a comment, and this will push the reel out to more people as well. Now, another little subtlety to using the features correctly, and I don't want to dwell on this point too much, is simply having the right content posted to the right areas. So I like to have my feed and reels full of valuable, engaging content. I don't like to post ads. I don't like to post off-topic stuff. I don't like to post just random photos of me that aren't adding anything to anyone's life. Instead, it's just engaging, valuable, relevant content in the feed. And then when I want to post a selfie, or if I want to post an update about something that's happening, or I want to post an ad for a product, I throw that all in my story, because regardless of the content, as long as it's somewhat engaging, whether it be helpful, whether it be an ad, it gets similar engagement. Whereas an ad in the feed gets way less engagement and hurts the overall ranking. Now, the second thing that you want to do to skyrocket your reach is make sure that you're adjusting your content to whatever the most engaging format is. Now, in the past, years and years ago, when I first started on Instagram, about 7 years ago now, you'd post single images and get awesome reach because that's all there really was. And then they introduced 15-second videos. And if you started posting short videos, it did sometimes, if it did well, give you a nice boost in reach. That's where a lot of nature pages and stunt pages where people are doing cool stuff in cars and bikes, etc., took off. Then came carousels a few years ago, and people would start posting information instead of in an infographic in a carousel, and they did incredibly well, and they still do work, to be fair. And now the most engaging format of content is Reels, and this is not just because Instagram's trying to push Reels for some random reason, it's because that is the most engaging format. If you scroll through your feed and then you scroll through Reels, you spend a lot more time looking at Reels than you would on your normal feed. I know this. Lots of people have tried it, including myself. It's a fact. And in future, this may change. There might be a new way that content is created that is more engaging than short form video. And if that is so, you're going to have to take your message and what you're trying to put out there into the world and format it into this piece of content. Now, this is not too hard. Like if you in the past created a carousel about how to bake a cake, you can go from posting a step or an instruction on each slide to instead creating it in a reel and showing people what you're doing with a voiceover of how you're doing it and the steps people have to take. It's simply just about adapting your content to whatever is really engaging, because the more engaging it is, the more it'll get pushed out to people. Now, the third thing that you want to look at to maximize engagement is the time of day that you are posting. Now, this again falls into the piece that we talked about at the start. If you can get more early engagement on your content, it'll propel it out to more and more people. If you post and it doesn't get much early engagement, you will likely get less reach on it because Instagram will limit the reach in favor of more engaging stuff. Now, luckily, this is a very easy thing to do. All you have to do is go into your insights on Instagram if you're a business account, go to total followers, and then scroll right down to the bottom where you can see what time of day your audience is most active. Then you want to post just before this time so you maximize your reach. Okay. Number 4, this one is a big one and a somewhat obvious one, and that is your content itself. If you want to increase your reach, you simply have to create content that is worthy of reach. Now, let's use the fitness coach example. It's something I use a lot because it's not my specific business. Like, I'm not just talking about my own business, but it's also something I've got a rough understanding about. Your target demographic is going to be people looking to lose weight, for example. Now, there's, of course, different situations for fitness coaches. Some people want to build muscle, some people want to train for sports, but let's say that's your target market. When these people that you're looking to reach click onto Instagram, and then they can look at their home feed or they can look at the explore feed where they find people they do not currently follow. Instagram's goal is to show them the best content that is best going to serve those people so that they stick around on the platform and that they enjoy it and they get something out of it. Which means if they're really actively looking to change their life and lose weight and eat healthier and so on, they're probably going to get shown a lot of content in that niche, which means the reach is there. It's just whether your content is getting shown there or whether someone else is doing a better job of creating that. Because if someone else is creating content which is more interesting, more engaging, more insightful, more eye-catching, more concise, then Instagram will show that content to them instead of yours. Or maybe they're better at storytelling so that they relate to the person more and that they engage with it better. Now, of course, they're not only going to show one person's content to this person, but they might show 20 or 30 or 50 different accounts' content to this person per week. So if you want to reach more of these people, you have to focus on better serving these people so that Instagram push your content to them. And the way that they work out who is best serving them is a very, very technical thing that I don't fully understand myself, but it mostly comes down to how do people react to your content. If they react to it positively, Instagram will show it to more similar people. So if a whole load of people who are showing that they're trying to lose weight, and Instagram can work this out based on their actions, how they perform on the platform, who they follow, what they like, what they watch, what they don't watch, how they message, etc. and they're engaging with a lot of content from one account, and Instagram finds other people who have similar interests, engaging with this other account, which might be your content, they will show that content to them as well, if that makes sense. Now, how you can actually go about doing this, because I know a lot of people say post more valuable content, post better content, post more engaging content, but how do you actually do this? Well, maybe this means that you go out there and you research your content a little bit more, so you can come up with better stuff that's actually more informed, more educated, and more helpful. Maybe it means that you learn to edit your content slightly better. So maybe that's how you set up your camera and your lighting and your audio and how the text jumps up on the screen and so on. Or maybe it's the design you use in your carousels. Maybe it means that you post more often so you get a lot more practice of what works and what doesn't work and what your audience respond to. Or maybe you read a couple books on marketing and learn how to better storytell so that you can keep people captivated and engaging with your message. There are lots of ways to do it. If your content was the absolute best in your niche, you would be getting an insane amount of reach, even without hashtags, without any growth strategies. Because if yours was the best, Instagram would be pushing that to more people. Look at the likes of Visualize Value. They don't do any cross promotions. They don't spend any money on ads. They don't use hashtags. They don't use captions. And they blew up on Instagram just by having the best content in their niche. Simplistic, elegant content that explained difficult concepts in an easy to understand manner. And they were the best people at it, which is why their account blew up. And then finally, number 5 is hashtags. Now, my mindset and the way that I approach hashtags is extremely simple, but I wanted to cover it anyway because I know I'll get a lot of questions on it. Hashtag reach goes up, down, round and round. It's all over the show. However, there are 2 things that you can control when it comes to your hashtags that can improve your reach. And that is the hashtags that you choose and the content that you post. Now, the selection of hashtags is very simple in the way that I do it. I don't have anything too fancy. It's very straightforward and time effective. You want to make sure they're extremely relevant to your content and they're not too competitive. When I say not too competitive, you don't want to be using the biggest hashtags, hashtag fitness, hashtag love, hashtag motivation, because they've got ridiculous competition and you're competing against the biggest accounts to rank on those hashtags. But you also don't want to go for ones too small that have got like no posts on them, because then you're not going to get any reach. You want to find that middle ground. Now, for a detailed step-by-step tutorial on how you can go about actually doing this, I'll leave a link below for a video that I made in the past on my channel, or just search Josh Ryan hashtags. And then you can grab a free trial of the tool that I use for hashtags, which makes it very simple. That'll also be linked below. Now, the other thing that you can control when it comes to hashtag reach is your content itself. And we had a good chat about that on the last point, so hopefully that came through. And even then, if you master your hashtags, you master your content, some posts just won't do well on hashtags. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw, but you can improve your odds by better researched hashtags and better content. And that's essentially the 5 things you can do to always increase your reach. Like I said, it'll go up, it'll go down, there'll be good weeks, there'll be bad weeks. But over the whole, if you follow those 5 things, you will see a lift in your reach. Make sure you're using the different features of Instagram correctly so that you can maximize the reach. Use the most engaging format of content available to you at the time. Post just before your audience is most active. Work on always improving your content, better upskilling yourself, and make sure you use the right hashtags. Now, if you want more content around building your audience on Instagram, you can subscribe to my newsletter entirely free, link down below. You can get a free month of access to my Skillshare classes, which are also linked below. Free trial of the hashtag tool that I use, link below. And if you want one-on-one help to scale your business on Instagram, DM me on Instagram @Josh Ryan, and we'll see if we can help. That's it from me. See you next time.